The Building of Asgard's Wall by Norse Myths. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. When Asgard was still new, the gods looked out from their shining halls and saw a weakness they could not ignore. The realm stood bright and proud, but it had no walls strong enough to keep giants, raiders, and other enemies from testing its borders. The thought troubled them, because a home can be glorious and still be one hard wind away from danger. The gods gathered to speak of it. They talked of stone, timber, and time, and of how long a fortification great enough for Asgard would take. Any ordinary wall might slow an enemy for a day. This one would need to guard the whole realm, from the lowest edge to the highest gate. It would have to stand against frost, fire, and giant hands. Then a stranger came to the gates. He was a builder, at least in appearance, but he was built like a hill given human shape. His stride was steady, his shoulders broad, and his voice calm enough to make the guards listen. He said he had heard the gods speaking of their need and believed he could help. If they would let him work without interruption, he would build a wall around Asgard that no enemy could force apart. That sounded useful. It also sounded dangerous. Odin watched him closely and asked what such a job would cost. The builder did not hesitate. He wanted Freya for his wife, and he wanted the sun and the moon as part of the bargain. The gods fell silent at that. Freya was no prize to be handed over, and the sun and moon were not things that could be set on a table and traded away. Thor's temper flashed at once. His hand reached for Mjolnir, and the air around him seemed to tighten. But Odin raised a hand. He did not like the demand, yet he had seen enough of the world to know that a bargain can be refused, or it can be turned against the one who made it. Loki, listening with sharpened ears, stepped forward with a smile that meant trouble. He told the builder that the gods would consider the offer, but only if the work were done in a single winter and only if the man worked alone, with no help except from his horse. If the wall was not finished by the first day of summer, then there would be no reward at all. The builder agreed at once. That should have warned them. At once he set out to gather stones, and his horse came too. The animal had a name, Svadilfari, and it proved to be as important as the man himself. It pulled up stone after stone from distant places, hauling loads that would have broken a dozen ordinary beasts. The builder shaped and placed them with a speed that left the gods uneasy. Soon the wall began to rise day by day, stone by stone, and each day it rose faster than before. The gods watched from a distance, growing more troubled as the months passed. The wall was not crude work. It was solid, neat, and grand. It lifted around Asgard like a ring of strength, and the builder never seemed to tire. By the time winter deepened, the gods could see that he was going to finish in time. That changed the mood in Asgard. The bargain had sounded like a clever trap for the stranger, but now it had become a trap for the gods themselves. If the wall was completed on time, they would owe him the reward, and that reward was no small thing. Freya would never consent, but the bargain had been spoken aloud. Worse still, the sun and moon were named in the deal, and no god wanted to imagine such a loss. They called Loki to account, for it was his tongue that had steered them into the promise. He answered with less ease than usual, though he still tried to laugh it off. But when the gods pressed him, he saw that they were truly alarmed. There was no chance to simply wait and hope. The builder would finish unless something was done. Loki went away to think. When he returned, he had a plan that made even him look uncomfortable. If the horse could be kept from helping, the builder would not have the strength to finish the work in time. That meant the horse had to be distracted, and there was only one way Loki knew to do it. That night, as the builder drove Svadilfari toward the last great stones, a mare came from the darkness and called to the stallion. She was beautiful, and the stallion forgot the wall at once. He tore after her into the night, neck stretched, hooves flying, and the builder shouted after him in fury. But the mare did not come back. She led the horse deeper and deeper into the night until the builder could no longer call him back. Without Svadilfari, the work crawled. The builder hauled and pushed and cursed, but the stones were too many and too heavy for one being alone. He could not finish the wall before summer came. When the first morning of summer arrived, the wall stood nearly complete, but not complete enough. The gods saw at once that the bargain had failed. The builder had no payment, and with that failure his temper broke. The disguise that had hidden his true nature fell away, and the stranger stood revealed as a giant of immense size and rage. He had not been a mere craftsman at all, but one of the mountain folk, come to Asgard with cunning of his own. He roared at the gods and accused them of cheating him. But Thor had had enough. The thunder god stepped forward, Mjolnir in hand, and the air crackled as if storm clouds had gathered indoors. One blow was enough. The giant fell, and Asgard was spared the price of his bargain. The gods kept the wall, unfinished though it was, and it served them well. Yet there was one strange thing left behind from that night, for Loki's plan had a result he had not fully bragged about. Some time later, Loki returned with a foal. It was gray, swift-looking, and unlike any horse that had ever been born. It had 8 legs and a way of standing that made the ground seem ready to move beneath it. Loki, for once, did not sound cheerful when he brought it to Odin. He named the foal Sleipnir. And so Asgard gained both a wall and the finest horse in the worlds. The wall stood as a shield against enemies, and Sleipnir carried Odin wherever the road between realms had to be crossed. Loki's trick had saved the gods from a dangerous bargain, but it had also left him with a story he could never quite tell the same way twice.